Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm back. I'm gonna do a little coding. I'm gonna do a little bit of coding. Uh-oh, we have a conflict.
Whoa, helicopter.
I think I can I edit this right here? Oh, pick hunk. Pick that, pick head, pick head. Let's see. Head. There we go. Lazy get to the rescue once again. Now we need to, what do we want to do? We want to go home and we need to make sure our configurations are all up to date. Lazy. Oh man, I feel so much better. I've had this project at work that I've been trying to get off my chest for the last 8 days, and I finally finished it today. So, I mean, it's not done, but the initial part of it's done, and I feel so much better. It's so hard for me to focus on things. Focus on more than one thing at a time. I get a bug in my ear about something and I gotta deal with it until it's done. Okay, so we can close that. Oh god, I made the NeoVim gods angry. Let's see, settings. Why is settings complaining? Settings may be null here. Oh, that's because I'm doing. Let's see. Call this app settings. Why is this complaining? Cannot convert from. Oh, I need to await this. Await. There we go. Hold on. This is still complaining. There's a lot of complaints tonight. Hey Logan, how are you? Thanks for being the first comment, man. Appreciate it. This actually needs to be throw config. We need to say if app settings dot providers Actually, I think I can do. Do I want this to be case insensitive? I think I want it to be in case insensitive. I don't remember how I did this. Dude Davis, what is the code for? The code is for a little console app that I'm building as part of a larger project that does alt text generation using an LLM. So really simple use case, but just a nice little fun side project that solves a problem that I have. You know, those are the best problems to solve. Are your own. Cool. Yeah, it is. It's been a cool little project, man. I've enjoyed working on it. How are you doing tonight, dude Davis? Doing well? Had yourself a good Saturday so far? I need to inject the iANSI console.
No, it's like this. Oh, I don't know those. You're basically being a tip. And then we have the top. Oh, what? You didn't look at the
Actually, we should say var existing provider. Then we can say existing provider is null. If it's not null, then we can say app settings dot remove, but we want to say app settings so this actually is going to be an add command, isn't it? So let's see. Ah, boy. Ah, boy. I think. I think this needs to be renamed. I think this needs to be remove. I think this needs to be add provider, add or update provider. And then I think we need one that's going to be public app settings, remove provider. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. Then in my remove config command, I can basically just do that. Let's see. I don't even need to do this. I can just say var updated app settings. Just like that. And then we need to persist this back to the disk. So we need to serialize it. Then we need to write it all out again. And then, let's see. Mohammed Salah, how are you, brother? I'm good. Ramadan Kareem. Love the hard work you're doing. Hey, I appreciate that, Mohammed. Thanks for stopping in, man. How are you doing? Is it already Sunday for you? Or is it still Saturday for you? I hope and pray that someday you'll be the most required, smartest programmer in the world. Wow, that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty kind, man. That's a. I don't know if I'll ever reach those heights, but appreciate it. I'm fine, man. Thank you. It's Sunday. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's still Saturday night here, so we got to catch up. Atomic Boomin. Hey, how's it going? Am I allowed here now? Yes, Atomic Boomin. You can hang out here. Tiger Morph. Hi. Hey, Tiger Morph. How's it going? Good to see you again. Thank you to those guys that have returned for another stream. I appreciate that. It's nice to see some familiar usernames. Mohammed, really, I love the way you're working and sharing your ideas to people. Well, I appreciate that, man. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm trying to do. Just basically sharing what I know. I definitely don't want to try to portray myself as like all knowing or an expert or anything. Just a random guy in Kansas learning about stuff and trying to share what I learn. Okay, I think this works. I need to also spend some time adding some tests for all this stuff. But I think if I open up another tab, disable the read line there, and we go to Alt-Gen, Let's see, on spring. What do you want to say? Maybe alt-gen source, alt-gen console? Console, yeah, there we go. So we should be able to do .NET run and then pass help. And hopefully, I haven't built this in a little while. Let's see, config command could not be found. Are you missing a using directory? Yeah, well, the config command doesn't even exist anymore. Okay, so the way you do this, if you've ever used Spectre Console, the way this works now is I actually want to set up a branch. So what I do is instead of having a config command, I'll say add branch. And then I believe off the branch, then I do a configuration, and then I do c.add command, and I'll add the config command and then the remove command. Okay, now this should build. Famous last words. Tiger Morph, random question, but do you think there will be a time where hold on, sorry. Okay, random question, but do you think there will be a time where we could be able to upload or digitize our mind and live without a physical body as a new species? Wow, that's a whole can of worms, man. Azimaza. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but is the shell scripting? It's not shell scripting. I'm writing C#, is what I'm writing. Muhammad, are you Christian, Steve? Yes, I am. Do Christians believe in fasting for Ramadan? Not that I'm aware of. I was brought up in a Methodist church, and we never did any sort of like fasting like that. Is it Ramadan for you, Muhammad? Is it? I'm not familiar with when that is. Oh, I guess it is. Yeah, it's from the 28th of February to March 29th. So you're like right in the middle of it, man. Okay, so now I have a config command. So now I should be able to say config -- help. Nice. I probably want a list command, don't I, too? Like if you're adding and removing providers to this app, you probably want to be able to see. You actually got the pronunciation of it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Azamaza. Azamaza. I'm sorry. I will make my best effort to say it correctly. Matthew Wilson. Hi. What's up, Matthew? How are you doing? Thanks for coming back to another chat, man. Appreciate you. Yes, we are fasting in Ramadan from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, but Muhammad, is the meal at 6 p.m. pretty awesome? Like I imagine that if you're fasting from 5 to 6 during the day, then when you eat after 6 p.m., it's kind of like the same experience as like when you've like practiced a sport or worked out really hard and you drink water. Like water never tastes better than after you've worked really hard. So I'm guessing that's the same thing with food. Muhammad Salah, do you know that fasting has a lot of medical benefits? I do. I actually wrote a research paper in college about intermittent fasting. And what's actually interesting is a lot of the research around intermittent fasting is built around studying people participating in Ramadan. Primarily because there seems to be, it's much easier to get guarantees about adherence to the fasting. So it's easier to study people that are fasting for Ramadan than it is to lock people in a metabolic ward and force them to fast. It's kind of interesting. Logan says if Brian stops by real soon, like, and I don't respond, to tell him I'm gone for a minute. Oh. Yeah, Logan, you don't. Hey, Logan, just heads up, man. I'm not going to be your go between you and Boston. Okay, man? So from now on, just let's not ask me to tell Boston that you were here or that you're coming back or that you've gone. Okay, buddy? You and Boston can exchange phone numbers or Discord or something. Y'all don't need to communicate via my I mean, you can communicate in the chat, but you don't need to ask me to be your guys' go between. Alright, now let's test these commands. So I already should have. I think I do have a bogus app settings already in here. Let's see. We should have an app settings file in here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So we have Gemini and we have Claude. Okay, so what I want to try to do is I want to try to remove. Excuse me. I want to try to remove Claude. So I should be able to say .NET run -- config remove Claude. Well, that's not what I was hoping for. So the value cannot be null. Parameter source. Tiger Morph LL. Yeah. I mean, I really don't mind people hanging out in my chat and like talking to each other and using my chat as a place to meet up and talk. It's just don't turn me into a game of telephone. Muhammad, and we pray and read Quran, feeling your spirit so comfortable and connected to God. Hey, yeah. We also love Jesus, by the way, in Islam. Well, that's great to hear, Muhammad. Yeah. I have no shade to throw at any religion. Okay, so why did this something wasn't right here in the. This is where I need to actually just go ahead and write some tests. Let's see, value. Yeah, it's because I can't do this. I need to pass in the existing app settings. No, I need to pass in the provider. Right? No, that should be right. So settings.provider. This should work. Let's see, helper. C.exception. Let's see where this is throwing from. Tiger Morph, what is the project about? I can explain it to you in just a second. One sec. This says app settings, line 35. Okay, I need to write some tests. Let's go over here. Let's do add config command. .cs. Remove config command .cs, or these should be tests.cs. Config command .tests. And then app settings. Okay, Tiger Morph. So here's what the project is. So basically, I've been working on it for a couple weeks and I've been distracted by other things, so I haven't made a lot of progress on it recently. But basically, I have an API where I can send a image, and that API is already deployed. So let me see if I can demo it for you really quick. Let's see. I need to log out. No, I need to switch accounts. I don't want to sign in on. Muhammad, love you, man. Take care. You too, Muhammad. Have a good day, man, and have a good dinner. I hope your feasting goes well. Let's see. Let's see if this works real quick. Hold on. Before I show you, I just want to make sure. API.altgen.stephen. Select file. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to demo this. I apologize. So basically, I can hold on. Let me see the chat. Okay, so basically, here's the deal, right? So I have this API. It's deployed. The API part we built this on stream, and I already got through the first part of this. It's right now it only supports Gemini, but in the future I'm going to go back and add support for Anthropic and OpenAI. But what it basically allows you to do is you send a post request to the generate endpoint, you give it an image, you give it the API key for your provider, and then you also say which provider you're using. And this runs in a Docker container on my VPS. And when you hit that endpoint, it returns you. Let me see, where'd it go? It returns you just some alt text. So right here, I sent it a picture of a Baby Yoda. Not Baby Yoda. His actual name is Grogu, and it gives me back some alt text. And the reason why I wanted this application or wanted this functionality was because I kept finding myself going to ChatGPT or to Claude, and I kept finding myself saying, here's an image I want to post on social media. Could you please generate some alt text for it? And I was like, do this like 3 or 4 times a day. And I was like, you know what? This is getting old. Let me build a console application and let me build a web application that I can just hand it an image to, hit an endpoint, and I get back the text, good alt text for the image. So that's the whole point of the project, Tiger Morph. And so I'm in the process of implementing the first client application, if you will, which is just a simple console app. And so it's just going to be used like you see here. You know, you'll call a command on it, pass it your file, and it will generate some alt text, print it back on the terminal. And then I'm eventually going to get to building a web app for it too. I just haven't gotten that far yet. But that's what we're working on. It's not very sophisticated. It's not like a crazy groundbreaking thing. It's just one of those tools that like after about the 50th time of doing something, I thought to myself, you know what? It would be nice if I had like a purpose built thing for myself that could do this. Thus, I find myself here on Saturday night working on this project. Hey, Toad Sage, how are you? Alex, what is the schema? Alex, what are you talking about? What do you mean, what is the schema? Are you talking about what that diagram is? This was just a little diagram I drew up when I was first coming up with the idea for this project to kind of just conceptualize what it is I was wanting. Toastage, you can say it's an AI wrapper. Yeah, it's totally an AI wrapper, right? It's just that it's purely just it's basically a prompt, an endpoint that it takes some input, wraps it in a prompt, and sends it to a foundation model. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like a reversed AI image generator, right? I could see how you use that. You could probably use the alt text that's generated to turn around and generate an image. Um, like I imagine at some point this will just be built into one of the browsers, or this will be built into one of the social platforms, right? Like it seems kind of silly that as a user you have to draft alt text every time you want to. I mean, you don't have to, but you should, right? Because there are people who need that in order to have good experiences on those platforms. But I always feel like when I write alt text, it's really bad. It's like, here's a picture of a book, or here's a picture of Grogu. That's what my alt text is. And so I'm like, man, I can use the power of generative AI to do this better, but do it faster. By the way, I'm fine. How about you, man? I'm good. I'm good. Had a good day. My kid had his last basketball game of the season. Um, I got a really big work project off my chest that was really weighing on me the last 7 or 8 days, and I kind of just became obsessive about it and just finished it as quickly and as fast as I could because I was just tired of it kind of weighing over me. So I feel much lighter this evening having completed that now. Alex, what is your primary language? Alex, you mean programming or spoken or written? English, if you're talking spoken or written. But if you're talking programming, depends, right? I guess it depends on what I'm doing. It tends to be if I'm writing anything on the that's going to run on the back end. If it's gonna be something server side, I tend to write it in C sharp. But sometimes I'll reach for JavaScript or TypeScript if it's a small, simple tool or simple script, one off type of thing. Um, but C sharp a lot for the back end. And then, of course, if I'm working on the front end, I typically am working in TypeScript. Personally, that's what I prefer. JavaScript's okay. I like JavaScript. I just find the dev experience to be so much better in TypeScript, you know, because of the static typing. What about you? How about you, Alex? What's your go-to these days? For sure, yeah. TS developer, yeah, man. I love me some TypeScript. You know, my favorite thing, my favorite little, um, my favorite, what is it? What do I want to say? It's my favorite fun fact about TypeScript is like one of the primary architects or people that have worked on TypeScript, right, and helped develop it is the same guy who did C sharp. So and you may already know that, but Anders Heilsberg, I think is his name. So he actually, um, yeah, actually, it's kind of funny when C sharp was this predates me ever knowing programming or learning programming. It's just stuff I've learned over the last few years of being in the space. But apparently, like I think C#3 or C#4, they did a big rewrite on the compiler, and so there wasn't a lot for Anders to do at that time. So he went over and helped work with the TypeScript team. And then he had, I guess, because he had such a good time over there, thought it was an interesting enough problem, he just stayed. He just stayed working on TypeScript. And now C sharp is largely worked on by a guy named Mads Torgersen. Torgersen, I think that's how you say his last name. But yeah, I find it funny that the two languages I like the most, or that I feel that I gravitate towards the most to, largely probably came from the mind of the same person. Does anybody else here write tests for their projects? Kumar Raj, have you tried Gleam? I have not tried Gleam. Is it good? And what do you think about it, Kumar? Alex, haha, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something to. I'm kind of interested to maybe meet him one day. Toad Sage, okay, that's my time. See you later. Gonna work on the project. Okay, Toad Sage. Appreciate you stopping in, man. You have yourself a good day. Azamazu Ataru, are you a CS graduate? I'm not. So, my degree is actually in biochemistry. Alex, bro, barely got time for tests. So, Alex, is that more of like a work constraint, like the projects you work on professionally? They just the timelines don't allow for tests. Toad says, "Yep, I write tests, man, for my project." That's awesome, Toad says. Yeah, me too. I mean, if it's my own personal side projects, I write tests, and the reason is because I find a lot of psychological safety in having a suite of tests that I can run at any moment in time and give me some level of confidence and comfort that I haven't completely foobarred the project. And I think it's wild that there's lots and lots of devs out there who don't have that benefit. I was in the middle of answering Azamaza's question about being a CS graduate. I'm not a CS graduate. I actually went to a small university in Missouri, which is here in the United States. If you're familiar with it, it's a state here in the United States. The college I went to is called Missouri Southern State University. I was a lion. That's their mascot is a lion. And I actually got a degree in biochemistry, a bachelor's degree in biochemistry. I originally thought I wanted to be a doctor, and then just like my junior or senior year, I realized that wasn't really what I wanted to do. But obviously, I was already a senior in a 4-year program, and it didn't make sense to bail. Code Sage, yeah, it's like getting an extra believe on your code. It really is. Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe that there's tons and tons of people out there that, um, I guess I shouldn't say tons, but I probably shouldn't say this on stream. Um, I should just say that I guess I'll just say that it's crazy to me that I know developers who work in very large, complex code bases that don't really have any type of test infrastructure, and they kind of have to make changes and hope they understand how everything is wired together. And it's impressive if people. It's very impressive that people can develop that way. And if you can, that's great. And if that's how you do it, that's wonderful. It's just, um, I find writing tests one adds confidence and comfort to me, but also it helps me clarify what I'm trying to build or the solution I'm trying to implement. Boris Bor 1S says put some chief something on let's go Serbia. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Bor 1S. Can you enlighten me a little bit? Mopor, please remember to take a rest and drink some water while streaming, sir. Well, thank you for looking out for me, Mopor. I definitely will. I haven't drinking any water since I started streaming, but I am drinking coffee. Gleam is a functional programming typed language with syntax similar to TypeScript. It's based on Erlang. I wanted to try functional programming, breath of fresh air. Okay, cool. Let's add it to the list, man. I've got a running list of actually, I should also be using the Warp terminal. I'm using the Windows terminal, but I did download warp.dev the other day. I should be using that. Alex says just described my life. Well, Alex, I'm sorry that that's the way. I mean, I think it's very impressive if you're able to be productive and successful in spite of that. That's a huge kudos to you, man. I just if I'm gonna work on something, it's like, and there's not a timeline or somebody breathing down my neck or anything, I'm gonna spend the time to write tests. And it may mean I'm slower, right? It may mean I'm slower, but it's a more enjoyable experience for me. Okay, let's go in them, OneDrive, desktop, things to try or things to look at on stream, and let's add try learning Gleam. I've got quite a few things building up on that list.
Yeah.
For sure, the value is self-explanatory. Yeah, you'd think it would be, but it's hard, I guess, to communicate that to people maybe outside of those who are doing the work. You know, like if you say, "Yes, we can build this for you. It'll take 2 weeks, but if we also do unit testing, integration testing, and end-to-end testing, it's going to take us 3 weeks or 4 weeks." I can see how that might be a rough sell. Alex, you're from the U.S. I am. I'm based in Kansas. If you know where Kansas City is, we live very close to Kansas City. That's like the largest city near us. Nice username. Huge stinker. Yes. Nice username, bro. Kamar Raj, do you stream daily? I like your to-do list. Yes, I do. I do try to stream every day. Not super long streams. Like my life is just not super set up to allow me to stream for hours on end. But I try to do an hour to 2 hours each time I stream. And sometimes I'll stream just code. Sometimes I'll stream while I work out. Let's see, Alex. Nice. I am from the UK. Awesome, man. Very cool. Where at in the UK are you at, if you don't mind me asking? Downtown. Can we do Python? Sure. What do you mean? Can we do Python? You mean like you want to do some streams where I learn Python? Because I already know Python, and we have a project that we've been working on a little bit in Python. That's about building large language models. Do you just want to switch over to doing something in Python, or what are you looking at there downtown? Alex, Manchester. Nice. Very cool. I'd like to visit the UK sometime. My wife and I know it's not the same thing, but my wife and I always talk about going to visit Ireland. Code in Python, AI, ML. Yeah, for sure. We can switch over and work on that a little bit. Yeah, that's what we've been doing the last couple streams. I was just trying to make some progress on this small project a little bit. But yeah, sure, we can switch gears here. Why not? Although it might be a little less entertaining because a lot of it's just like reading from a book. You know what I mean? But if you guys are cool with hanging out, I should probably check this in. Let's see. Git add git commit feature work in progress on remove config command. Okay, and then let's see. Where were we? We were, I think I started, yeah, I have a repo now for this. It's been a minute since I've worked on this though. So if I fumble around a lot. Kumar, Python is cool. Recently built a rack. Yeah, Python's okay. Like I personally just, it's not the language I reach for first. I'm largely just using it for this project because the book I bought, all the code snippets and stuff are in Python. So that's what. But eventually, I think I'll probably take what I learned from here and probably do something in. Like if I actually do some implementation of what I learn on my own projects, I'll probably do it in TypeScript or C#, one or the other. Okay, forgive the light mode. Let's see, open with Edge. Here we go. Yeah, we had just switched over to chapter 3, I guess, when we stopped on this last time. Let's see. Build a large language model. Here we go. Step 1. Figure out how to do it. Hidden. What is coding? I've never understood how to code or what it does or anything. I mean, you can just think of it like you're giving instructions, right? It's just that's all code is. It's just instructions on what a computer should do and how a computer should do something. At the end of the day, right? I mean, it all gets compiled into ones and zeros that get run on some hardware somewhere. And there's different levels of abstraction that you can write those instructions in, right? So you can write those instructions in assembly, you can write it in binary, you can write it in Python. That's all it is. And some languages make it easier, obviously, right? The more abstract the language is, the easier it is to, in my opinion, to express and think about more complex problems. Because the lower level you go, I feel like the lower level that you code at, the more you have to deal with thinking about, like you're thinking less about solving your problem and you're thinking more about the specifics and the semantics of the language, of the instructions you're writing. But that's all it is, hidden. Nothing crazy. I don't even remember where. I don't remember where in the code we left off. Shaolin Meng. I'm gonna send you packing, buddy. You have a nice, lovely day. I don't know why people say stuff like that, but there he goes. Okay, we were working on the PyTorch example, I think is where we were. But I think basically chapter 2's over, so I don't really need anything in here. We should just start a new chapter. Chapter 3. And where did it go? What? Oh, there it is. Oh, whoops. Delete. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hidden. Okay, thanks, man. Just curious about that stuff. I'm not too smart here, to be honest. I'm sure you're much smarter than you give yourself credit for, man. Downtown, can you help me with how to remember OOPS concepts? It all seems the same when I am confused. Kumar Raj, a computer manages memory and does a set of things that seem like magic when it is. Making a computer do things is coding. Use high-level languages and you won't have to manage memory yourself. Yeah, exactly, right? The abstractions allow you to not have to worry about these lower-level things that would consume large amounts of your mental headspace, right? Okay, Downtown, you're talking about object-oriented programming? OOPS, is that what you're talking about, Downtown?
That was it. You're the only one kid that will touch me.
Yeah, hey Cal, don't mess with him when he's in his VR thing, okay? I'm happy, Downtown, I'm happy to expand on that if you want me to. But I just want to confirm that what you're talking about is you're talking about object-oriented programming. Is that what you're referring to? There's lots of abbreviations on the internet, so I don't want to assume. Alright, so at this point, we know how to prepare the input text for training LLMs by splitting text into individual word and subword tokens, which can be encoded into vector representations or embeddings for the LLM. Now we will look at an integral part of the LLM architecture itself, attention mechanisms. We will largely look at attention mechanisms in isolation and focus on them at a mechanistic level. Then we will code the remaining parts of the LLM surrounding the self-attention mechanism to see it in action and to create a model to generate text. I need to open my notepad here. Let's see. The Goat Sigma. Say Sigma, boy, and I will subscribe. Hey, man. There you go. I said it. But honestly, if you're not really interested in anything I'm doing on my channel or my lives, you don't need to subscribe, man. Kumar says, I think he's talking about polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation. Yes, yeah, that's what I was wondering if that's what he's talking about. Because if you are talking about that, yeah, I'm happy to expand on him. I think the easiest way to think of it is abstraction is just about creating layers in your code, right? A lot of the times in a lot of programming languages, that's expressed through some sort of interface or contracts. Encapsulation's largely about taking behavior and data and kind of coupling them together, right? Um, Polymorphism is about that idea that one thing. Um, what's a good illustrative example? So an illustrative example, right? Of polymorphism is like an animal, right? Like you can have a dog, a cat, a bird, right? And they could all be derived from a base class, which is an animal, right? And an animal eats, right? But maybe a bird eats one way, a dog eats another, a cat eats another. There's also though like that polymorphism and inheritance in object oriented programming can be kind of painful at times. So there's also this idea of composition, which is more of a it's more people tend to relate it more towards like a functional programming idea, but you can apply it to object oriented programming as well, um, which can sometimes make dealing with polymorphic things a little easier using composition instead of inheritance. Um, but yeah, I mean they all have their benefits. Object oriented programming versus functional programming. It's largely stylistic. It's largely your personal preference. Um, I find myself mixing the two a lot, especially when I write C sharp, because C sharp in recent years has added a ton of features that have largely kind of been stolen from not stolen, inspired by how other functional programming languages do things. So I kind of use both when it makes sense. Um, yeah. No one says you have to write object oriented code, you know? How long have I been going? I'm about an hour. Okay, so I'll do it. I don't know how much I'm gonna do of this. An hour is kind of where my breaking point is for streaming at the moment. Oh, I was gonna open my notes. I was thinking of going through this book that you were going through. Having completed 2 chapters, what do you recommend? Is it high level? Uh, no. So far I think it's great so far. It's a little. I mean, it's a little dry. It's a little repetitive at times, but it gets into the nitty gritty for sure. I think it's a great place if you're somebody who has worked with foundation models and has built RAG, like you built a RAG system, Kumar. If you've done that, I feel like this is the next place to go because that's kind of where I am. Where like I've built some RAG systems, I've built some LLM powered apps, or I've built apps that have LLM features integrated into them. Um, but I haven't done anything kind of at the model level, right? I haven't done any fine tuning. Um, and so this is kind of like going that next layer down, right? Trying to understand, okay, what's the architecture of these transformers? What are the different steps to actually getting a foundation model produced? Not that you're actually going to build your own foundation model, but you just have a mental model for it now. And then a lot of what the book will also learn will help with doing fine tuning, right? So if you want to be able to take like off the shelf open source models and fine tune them for a typical use case, I think this book could be helpful. It's a little pricey. I think it was like $50 on Amazon, but yeah, I mean I so far 2 chapters in, no complaints. No complaints at all. Kumar, thanks for driving. Of course, man. Yeah, that helps. Yeah, I think if you're at that layer of where like, hey, I know how to do things with vector databases. I know how to make API calls. I know how to do a little bit of prompt engineering with the foundation models, um, the different providers and whatnot. I think this is like logically the next step if you want to keep broadening your knowledge. It probably would help if I had a deeper background in machine learning. That would probably make some of it easier to understand. But I have a running list of a lot of things that I want to learn about once I get through with the book. So that should just be a nice, logical next place for me to go when I finish this. Oh, I can't stop yawning. I've been staying up way too late like I said, the last 5 or 6 days. I just was hammering this work project, staying up way, way too late. Okay, so before we dive into this, the self-attention mechanism at the heart of LLMs. So that's an important thing that they brought up a couple times, a self-attention mechanism. I'm going to say this is importante. That's what I wrote in my notes. Boston still hasn't came here yet. Yeah, Logan, I haven't seen him, man. So don't know. Must have other plans, Which I don't blame him. It's Saturday night, dude. Kamar, coding is like signing up for lifelong learning. Yeah, that's my favorite part of it, Kamar, because honestly, if you had to describe me as anything, if I had to describe myself as anything, it's a learner. I wrote a post on LinkedIn about this. I've probably written several posts on LinkedIn about this actually at this point, but like that's how I see myself as a learner. Let's see if I can find the post. Profile. Yeah, profile. I wish LinkedIn made it easier to see your posts. It's kind of difficult to get there. Let's see. Show all posts. Let's see. Learner. Oh man, this would have been a while ago, I think. I don't know. You guys probably don't care for me to read it or to share it with you, but it kind of just it articulated my thoughts on it. I need to pin it. I don't know. Okay, I spent way too long looking at that, but yes, lifelong learner. Yeah, Bunny Claire. That's kind of how I see myself. Is like, and I've had like 4 or 5 different careers now at this point, and basically all I've ever done is just learn how to do new things my whole career, time and time again. Like that, to me, that's the meta skill that sits on top of all skills. Huh. I don't know where it is. Oh, here we go. I finally found it. This is kind of like this is one of my favorite quotes about it. It's from a book called Eloquent JavaScript, and he talks about how learning is hard work, but everything you learn is yours and will make subsequent learning easier. Um, like I just feel like that's kind of how I identify myself. Kamar Raj, food scientist. What's that? So I worked for a company called Ajinomoto North America. Yeah, I worked for this company called Ajinomoto, developing food products for them. Let's see if we can find. Let's see if I can find. Let's see. Breads, frozen foods. Yeah, here we go. So I worked on developing food products like this. Let's see if I can find one of them for you guys. You can see what I. It was mostly breaded and battered appetizers, and pot stickers. Really don't know if they have any. Let's see products. Let's see. I made one that was a Gouda mac and cheese bite. Yeah, this was a product I developed. Smoked Gouda bacon flavored mac and cheese bites. Hey Boston, what's up, man? Good to see you. Watching the basketball game, nice. Oh, Kumar, I know you know. Yeah, yeah. They so Ajinomoto, yeah, their parent company is based in Japan, and their claim to fame is the founders of the company invented MSG. And they bought. So the company I worked for was originally a U.S. based company that Ajinomoto then bought. Right, so it was kind of consolidated into the Ajinomoto family of companies. But yeah, I was a scientist for them and developed developed frozen food products for them and did that for almost 6 years. It was good. Yeah, MSG, man. MSG is used in a lot of things. The reason why people love their potato chips so much, we we put them MSG in there. uh, and it's so weird too because actually North American culture is really weird about MSG. Uh, but like in other countries, I mean, even Japan particularly, I mean, it's just MSG does not carry the same negative connotations that it does here in the states. Boston, I'm glad the Celtics are playing well, man. It's good for you.
The Celtics.
That's awesome.
The Celtics fan
Cool dude. Hello, Mr. Developer. Hello, cool dude. Hey, cool dude. There's actually a guy that stops by my stream sometime. His name's Dude Davis. So there must be a theme here where people put dude in their usernames. All right. Well, I'm at an hour and 10 minutes. I think that's enough for me tonight. Probably not done programming for the evening, but I'm probably done working on stream. That was enough for me. So, what'd you say, buddy? Do you want to be involved? What? What'd you say?
I said tomorrow's tomorrow's the Celtics win, so I can know.
Nice. Yeah. That's what you would say? Yeah. Nice username. I'm gonna ban him. Watching over from Bangladesh. Nice. Thanks, Fahim. Thanks for stopping in, man. I'm actually getting ready to head out, so. Great stream. Hope you continue the book on stream. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I will, Kamar. Yep, we'll be back, man. So, you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. All right, guys.